going on? It's Chef TA, and welcome to Above the Joint Cannabis Adventures, where we're going to be taking some amazing dishes and recipes and putting them together and infusing them with the best greens Mother Nature has to offer. You guessed it? Kale. No, I'm fucking with you. It's actually going to be cannabis. So I have some amazing recipes, and I'm sure you guys are going to just love them. And so first thing we got to do is we have to decarb our flour so therefore the whole meal comes together. So to do so, all the way from Oak Brook, Consume Cannabis Dispensary, the man, the myth, the legend, the OG. He's a friend of mine, and I'm so happy he's here today. Dan Scheit, Marketing Director.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, man. How are you?
How are you doing today?
Good, good. So, first off, so happy you're here because I got this amazing dish that I want to run by you, okay? We're going to do some pan-seared chicken thighs with a little bit of shaved parmesan, sun-dried tomatoes, a little chicken stock, make it look good, make it look pretty, garnish it up. And
Sounds
then,
great.
because of the season, Brussels sprouts are in, so I got a nice Brussels sprout salad that we're going to do with some orange segments in there, a little bit of Swiss chard as far as for the roots in there, and I made this lovely vinaigrette with the tonic you gave me the other day, which I love it, and it's just so amazing. The product is just
Can't wait for that. That's going to be fantastic.
yes. And then we're gonna go over to a nice roasted veggie medley because we always want to have a little bit of veggies with our meat, and so we got some radishes, we got some organic tricolor carrots, and some more Swiss chard, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be just fantastic. So before we get started, let's decarb. Now, today I'm going to be doing the mason jar method, and this is the one I actually found out about, and because I was like, you always got to do for long times, you know, the old school days where it's like 8 hours or so forth and so on. And so when I found out this method, I was like, I got to do it. I just got to try it out. So while I'm putting this together, why don't you explain to the people why we have to decarb before we put in our food?
Absolutely. So THCA is what's going to be the naturally occurring in the plant, and that's the unactivated version of THC. It's actually going to be non-psychoactive. So what we need to do is raise it up to a temperature where that THCA is going to turn into THC, and then we're going to get that psychoactivity that we're looking for. It's also the same for CBDA turning into CBD. So as long as you decarboxylate it, you're going to get that desired effects, but it's a really, really important step for any sort of infusion.
Awesome. So let's go over the steps we're doing real quick. So I'm doing this method. I have my grinder here, and I also have some flour that I actually pre-grounded up before everything got together, and a mason jar here. And so I'm just going to open up my mason jar, throw my flour in there. Real simple method. Tie it on. Not too tight though, you know, just a little loose, give it air, because if you do it too tight, you actually may end up bursting the mason jar in the oven, which we don't want.
No one wants glass in their cannabis.
And so I have my oven set here to 250. Remember that, it's 250, and it's gonna be for 1 hour, and you're gonna shake every 15 minutes, okay? So we're just gonna take this right here, my oven's already preheated, throw it in the oven, and get started on our prep. Let's do that. Before we get started, how good are you with a knife?
I'm not the best. I'm definitely not a chef, but I can cut some things if you need me to.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna show you one time how to debone a chicken thigh, and then you're gonna come after me, okay?
Perfect.
So let's go right here real quick. All right, there we go. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take one, and I'm gonna show you how this is done. Okay, you wanna take your knife. You wanna kind of find the bone.
Okay.
Okay? Find that bone. Let's go around it. And you can see right now what's happening, I'm cutting the tissue around the bone, because if you leave that in, it's gonna make a tougher chew. So we're taking that out. Gonna turn it over, skin side up. And what we're doing is we're gonna season the skin because we're gonna put the skin side down. So you're just gonna get a nice good coat of seasoning. And what it's gonna do is when we put it in the pan with our extract, our butter, and our oil, it's gonna give it a nice caramelization and a nice crust to it. So we're gonna get that going here. So what I want you to do is, just what you saw me do. Here is a chicken thigh for you. Find the bone. I'm gonna place this right over here so we can get you in here. Now this is my knife right here. If you wanna use that, go ahead.
Perfect.
All right.
Sorry,
Now,
so we
real
got
quick,
Yep.
when you're cutting meat,
Okay.
it gets a little tricky because it gets slippery around, then you cut it, and then you So what I like to do is, when you go for it, find where the bone is, and on the other side of the bone is where you're gonna keep your hand.
Okay.
So you're gonna cut on this side, but keep it over here, and this bone's gonna be a guard for you. And then you can kind of like clean around that. Make sure you get the cartilage out.
Perfect. I'll give it a shot.
Beautiful. There you go. Boom. I just roll with it. There we go. You getting it? There we go. Almost there.
Nope. Get that last little bit of cartilage out of there.
Right. Beautiful. And then just flip it on over for me.
Flip it over.
And then just give me a little sauté action on that real quick.
This smells fantastic.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to try it.
There we go. Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. So now that we're back from washing our hands, making sure we're sanitary and all this, we're going to start on our shaved Brussels sprout salad. So then if you can actually hand me the mandolin real quick.
Mandolin.
And I'm going to show you how to shave some Brussels sprouts. You can come over here with me real quick.
Yep.
And so what I do is usually I take the Brussels sprouts here, get off the dead ones here. And if you want to, there's a guard here, but what I do is I kind of go a few times like that. And then once it gets down low, if you're scared to do it down low, that low, grab it here. Real quick, so come on over here, get that going. And so when I created this, I fell in love with this vinaigrette because I used the lemon lime tonic, and that's with the 1-to-1 ratio. And I put it in, I took some roasted oranges, I took some stalks from the rainbow shards, toasted them off in some of the THC butter, gave it a good saute, get the juices going to deglaze the pan, put that in a blender, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, unfiltered, some of that tonic, a little garlic and stuff like that, and put it all together, and just made this amazing just vinaigrette. I mean, just it's to die for. So what we're gonna do with these is we're gonna do this, and then we're also gonna go over here, and once that's done, I'm gonna show you how to segment an orange, because we're gonna put some orange segments in the salad with the vinaigrette. It's a nice light, springy salad. You know, you can have it for brunch. You can have it, you know, part of dinner. You can, if you just say, hey, it's a late night snack, and you don't want to feel guilty about it, getting the munchies, and so you can do it like that.
Sounds great.
So, quick question for you. So, while we're getting this going, how did you get started in the cannabis game?
So how I got started in this was that I was a medical patient first of all. So I was a medical patient when I lived in Boulder, Colorado. I had a stomach surgery. My stomach makes too much stomach acid, so that kind of comes into play with food as well. So I had a surgery, and I was either going to be on medication the whole rest of my life, or I was going to use cannabis, and I chose to use cannabis. I thought that was the correct, what I wanted to do long term, and how I wanted to make myself feel better without using a prescription medication and the side effects that go along with it. So that kind of really jump-started me into the cannabis industry, and I began working in the industry, and I have been since 2009. So I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I love it. I've loved it for a long time. I've watched it grow from we were a little small shop in basically an office building in Boulder, Colorado, and now I work for a national company. So it's really crazy to see how things have changed and how things have evolved over the time. It's been really fun. And I'm just blessed to be in the industry, and I've been doing it a long time, and I'm happy to be here cooking with you.
Right. So I remember when we had our last conversation, you brought a term up that I really love, and I started putting it in my vernacular, and that's normalization. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's so important that we break these stigmas with the plant, because I think it gets a bad rap, and I think that it's an amazing plant. It helps people out left and right. How do you feel about normalization? Let us know.
I think normalization is just, it's what's coming, and it has been for a number of years. People are really working towards making this a regular part of their life, and it already is a regular part of a lot of people's lives.
Right.
So what it is that people are using it on a daily basis. They have been for a long time, but now they're talking about it, and that's the big difference, is that people are actually talking about the cannabis use, and they're more open with it, and that's kind of what's getting the normalization. Right. But it also helps when you're doing stuff like this, where we're not just eating pot brownies. You're making a high-end dinner and a high-end meal, and then right. that helps with that normalization aspect of it. So I really appreciate anyone that's doing like kind of what you're doing, because you're helping bringing that normalization too.
Of course. And for me, my father had an accident when I was like 8 years old. They basically said that it was going to like knock him out, not be able to work, walk, nothing like that. And so he was having, I want to say he had about 25 to 30 surgeries. Wow. And so he started getting PTSD about it, and the doctor was like, hey, you know, to help you heal better, let's get you cannabis into your system. So he started smoking it, and surely enough, they had to actually start rescheduling surgeries closer because he was healing too quickly for them. So in my mind, I'm saying cannabis saved my dad's life in a way. Absolutely. Because it was just so amazing. So let's get back to the meal. I'm going to show you how to segment off an orange, okay? So it's going to go over here. Right? Going to go on the top here. Boom. Bottom. That was the side. And you just kind of like peel down, you know? Peel it down right past the white. Want to give it a try?
Sure.
All right, come on. So you want to shape it around the shape of the orange. Boom. There you go. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that.
Looking good.
Now, are you sure you're not a chef, man?
I am sure. I just like getting.
Right now,
I just like using cannabis and cooking.
Right
so
I'm like, he's cutting it great. I'm about to put him on garde manger. You know, he's about to be in my restaurant, getting a Michelin star. And so now that we're at this point, right? Just gonna clean up a little bit of white here because we don't want that in the salad. It's kind of bitter. And so the reason I'm doing it with some orange because they're in season. It's spring. It brings a refreshingness to the palate. Because sometimes a lot of people don't understand that citrus actually helps reset the palate. Yep. So that's why a lot of big time restaurants, one of their palate cleansers is always citrusy. So.
Yeah, and one of the things too is cannabis has the similar terpenes that are in oranges, so you're going to have some of that. It's nice to pair with cannabis. You can actually pair it with a strain that has almost like an orange scent to it too. So it's very cool that how the plants interact between the different terpenes because they're found in both oranges and in cannabis.
Right. Now, do you want to segment it with me?
I mean, I can give it. I can keep giving it a shot.
So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna go from this angle here, and then just kind of go within the lines, and then pull out.
Understood.
That's all you do. Nice, nice. And just move the knife out. Boom. Look at that. Look at that, man. I swear, Dan's a chef somewhere, man.
Only in my house after smoking too many joints.
The dispensary that they're in was an old restaurant. He probably was in there cooking before they turned it over. He was like, all right, let's do a nice little salad and a amuse boucher, you know? Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. So, from this point, let me get over here real quick.
Yep.
Beautiful. Now, I'm gonna take this, put it aside here, and take these segments. And I'm just gonna like half them, or actually I'm gonna third them to put them into our salad. Not too big, not too small, so just real quick. Dump on top of there. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful, look at that. I love a good orange. I love when they're sweet because I feel like when you're high and you have a good orange flavor to it, man, it really just dances on your tongue.
Absolutely.
Just beautiful, beautiful. All right. We'll get the last of that.
I like how fresh this is looking right now.
Exactly, exactly. So you just give it a little quick toss real quick. And then it's just a simple salad, you know. It's not 20,000 components. A simple shaved Brussels sprout salad here. And then I'm gonna take my vinaigrette and just drizzle over there. You know, look at that, look at that. And this is a THC infused vinaigrette. You see it here first, folks.
Yeah, that's the first time I've seen one of those. That looks delicious.
The future is here right now. So, and what I love about this because there's a slight dull undertone to the Brussels sprouts. Mm-hmm. And so that citrus brings it up and livens it up, and then the vinaigrette comes behind it, and it just gives it a nice melody in your mouth, you know? So I'm happy about that. So now we're gonna go start on our chicken, and then after that, we're gonna go to our veggies, okay?
Sounds great.
So right here, I have a cast iron. And this cast iron I have done, this is a THC infused rosemary, onion powder, unfiltered extra virgin olive oil. And so the reason why I got it unfiltered because once I put it through the process, that would be the filtering process, and it still has its extra virginness.
Ah, that makes sense.
Right. So I put it in here, and we're going to actually do a little bit of a concoction over here of extracts. Beautiful. So I'm going to get that going. We'll go here to our beautiful resin that you actually provided us. This is the G6, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, today's episode is sponsored by Consume Cannabis. So I actually love what you guys sent us over. When you gave me that bag, I was like, it's time to go to work. It's time to make this amazing, beautiful dish.
I'm excited to see how this all turns out, and taking these PTS products and turning them into a high-end meal. I'm very excited.
I am as well. So I'm going to take a little bit of this extract here, not a lot, because it's very potent. So I'm going to do about a little bit more. It's not a lot, just enough to get the pan going. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my THC butter here. And this was done for about 2 hours on 160 in my extraction machine. And let's go here. I'm gonna give a good glob there because
Why not?
Let's let that flavor really bounce with the seasoning. So that's there, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of my tincture as well. Okay. So let's do about.
That one's a 10-to-1 tincture, I believe. So that one's gonna have 10 times the amount of CBD for THC.
Right.
So that offers a slightly different feeling than just like a standard THC product.
Exactly. So the reason why I'm putting this in here because you don't want people going over their dosages as far as when you're doing this type of dining and cuisine, because a lot of times people want to go for the just crazy high amount rather than go for actual proper dosaging. Because the way I do my meals is that it's all going to be your recommended dosage is the whole meal.
Yep.
Not just, all right, this is 40, this is 60, and then people get too high, they get uncomfortable, paranoia sets in, and so we don't want that. So I'm just gonna get this going here a little bit. You can see right now, it's like a whole little dance going on right now in this pan with the extracts and oils. It's beautiful. And so what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna have you, once this get up a little bit more to the smoking point,
okay,
I'm gonna have you add in the chicken thighs, skin down, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay it away from you.
Okay.
Always lay it away because if you have oils in here that are hot, you don't want that splash back on you.
Yeah, I don't want to burn myself. That sounds good.
All right, so now that the pan is to the smoking point we need it at, we're going to add in our chicken. So Dan, go ahead, do me the honors.
All right, now like you said, I'm going to go away from me so I don't burn myself.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. There you go. So in this pan, we have the extract, we have the tincture, we have the butter, and an olive oil. So this is going to be a quadruple infusion, but I made sure to make it balance out. So we're looking at around 25 milligrams for the fasting breath, which is good because for a whole meal you want around. So I have a theory about what your milligram dosage should be for when you do edibles. If you do a dinner, I want to hear your opinion on that.
I think it really depends. I feel like most people that are going to be doing an edible dinner, you're going to be an advanced user. Like this is not your first time using cannabis if you're actually going to have a whole meal. And usually somebody that's used cannabis a number of times, you're going to end up doing probably 10 to 40, 50 milligrams. So that is a number of different people that are going to be able to do that. While their beginners aren't going to want to do that, right. People that are going to be wanting to do a cannabis dinner, absolutely 25 milligrams plus for sure.
So if I'm a beginner,
I would be starting between 5 and 10 milligrams.
Right.
Usually that's a good starting dose. On my end, as a dispensary person, the last thing I want you to do is to not have a good time.
Right.
So I want you to have a good time. And it's something about edibles, you can't uneat them. So
right.
That's something you have to be conscious of. You can't uneat them. So I'd rather start low and then build than start for too much and not have a good time.
Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna give you the tongs real quick.
Okay.
And then here's the napkins. Here's the towel so you can hold the handle. Now, while you're doing that, I want to hear your edible horror story. When was the time you had edible? It was like, oh my God, why?
Am I flipping?
Yeah. So what you want to do right now is you want to look under there and you want to have a nice amber caramelization right about there. So you want to go through this flip. So scoop in, then turn it. Beautiful. Then the other one. Beautiful. 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 Look at that. Boom. Let that go for a little bit more, for about maybe another minute or so, and then we're going to add our tomatoes to it, our parmesan, and then add a little chicken stock to this, and then throw it in the oven to finish off.
That sounds great.
Awesome, awesome.
So, edible horror story. I had a patient who will remain nameless. I told them to take a 10 milligram dose. They took the entire thing and took 100 milligrams and wound up in the hospital because they freaked out.
Right.
But it was only maybe their third or fourth time using cannabis.
Right.
And I wrote it down for them. Use 10 milligrams. Don't use any more. And they're like, well, I did the whole thing. Well, that's why you had a bad time. I told you that. If the doctor tells you to take one, you don't take 10. It's the same sort of situation. So, listen to a trusted advisor, especially if you're new to edibles.
Right.
And please take the dosage that you're supposed to.
Yeah. And it's always so important when you do edibles, it's decarbing. I remember I worked as a line cook at a little club out in Texas, and one of the line cooks there, he made cookies, chocolate chip cookies, regular cookies, and he just didn't decarb it. He just threw it right in there. So when you eat it, you get the jump out of the experience, and it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
When I tell you I had 3 cookies the size of like $50, I was on the couch glued like this, looking up at the light, just sweating hard and couldn't move. So,
and that one's really tough too because it's not going to be consistent. Like one of those brownies could have been double the potency of the other if you're just tossing it in there and not doing the care that you are in terms of determining your dosage.
Right.
If you're just tossing it in there, you have no idea what's going to be in one of those brownies.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the stigmas that I always try to help debunk. Like people like edibles and brownies and stuff like that. A lot of people just want to get you just in a slumber. When in actuality, you should kind of have it, kind of like just go through your day, feel comfortable. If you have an ailment, that helps out with that. Sometimes you do it with a sativa if you want energy, or if you're an insomniac, you do an indica. So, it's just crazy how like some people just don't really even give the care and the gauge to be like, hey, I want to make sure you have a good trip and not trip balls off because you're too stoned. So
yeah, in the G6 you added is definitely some uplifting strain.
Right.
So this shouldn't be too sleepy at all.
Beautiful. So now what we're going to do now, we're going to turn this off. I want you to grab this real quick.
Yep.
And bring it off the heat. Off the heat. Beautiful. All right. So now I'm going to take, I'm going to take some sun-dried tomatoes here.
Those look great.
Yes, they do. Real quick. And then I'm going to go for my parmesan that we're going to shave. Boom. This is going to go right in my oven. I'm going to finish it off in that oven. And what I like about chicken thighs is that no matter how much you cook them, they don't dry out.
Yeah.
Breasts dry out. You have a certain amount where it's like it's good, and then after that it's dry. But with thighs and dark meat, it stays juicier longer. I love it.
I prefer chicken thighs, so I am very excited.
Okay. So if you want to go ahead and grab that for me, Dan. And I'm going to open up this oven for you real quick and place it right there on the bottom. Beautiful. Now, our veggies. I am excited about this. Let's see, let's get this going. All right. So I'm going to do this on a medium heat. I'm going to take this beautiful rosemary, garlic powder, olive oil. Actually, you're going to take it.
All right.
What you want to do is I want you to go around in a circle and come in.
Okay.
Beautiful. See, Dan, look, I think you're a chef, bro. I really do.
I just watched too many cooking shows, I think, in my free time.
And then I'm going to do a little bit more butter in here as well and get that going. And so while that's going, because we really want these ingredients to come out and stand out and make sure they have a good prominent flavor. So what I did here is I quartered off some radishes, okay? And I quartered them off. I tossed them up, a little bit of the olive oil, salt, pepper. Actually, man, try one out real quick before we put them in. Tell me what you think.
Looks really good.
Right.
Got nice freshness to it, good flavor.
Right. And what I love to do is that I always like to analyze what I'm cooking. So if I'm doing a root vegetable, I want to know what complements the earthiness in it. You know, not overpowering, not too much salt, just right. So we have that. And then these beautiful tricolor carrots here, okay? Boom.
Those look great.
And so I roasted these off, just plain olive oil, salt, pepper, that's it. And then now we're going to go to the fridge here, and let's go find some Swiss chard, because that's going to go in our sauteed roasted vegetables as well, okay? So we're going to put this right here real quick, and let's just get this going. We're going to let this pan come to smoking point. And while that's hot now, I'm gonna put in my root vegetables first. Remember
Okay.
that. Whenever you do something like that, the more heartier the vegetable, you wanna put that in before all the other ones, because these are just a leaf vegetable. It's gonna cook quick, just like spinach.
Makes sense.
So I'm just gonna throw it in this pan real quick, some beautiful roasted tricolor organic carrots. Okay, boom, try one of those. Yeah.
Good. I cannot wait to have this whole meal together.
So, and then I'm gonna throw in some radishes here. I just love it. This is something I love to do. I love to kind of leave this on because that to me reminds me of how fresh it is, where it comes from. That I believe in RTS, root to stem. So I like to use everything and just promote sustainability when I'm cooking, and therefore getting it going. So I'm just gonna give it a couple tosses like that because these are already pre-roasted, so we're almost there in a way.
Awesome.
So now while that's going, I think we should probably get set up to cut up our rainbow Swiss chard and add it to this. So now we see that our vegetables are getting to the point, they're rendered down enough to the point we can add in our Swiss chard. So real quick then, I want to teach you how to cut down some chard. So when you see it, you go like, hey, TH, show me how to do this and I can do it. So real quick, just down the middle, okay? Just cut. Like that, you see?
Well, good. I can definitely make that happen.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. So while you're doing that, let's just move our salad out of the way. Get our veggies back here. One. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so just start adding these in while you're cutting those up. A little bit at a time. Add some more in there while those render down. Now I'm gonna add a little bit more of the garlic seasoning that I made earlier into this. Beautiful. All right, so I'm gonna turn the heat up on these. Add just a little bit extra in here for a little bit of freshness to it at the end. Season it up. I'm gonna add a little bit of sun-dried tomato in here as well. And that flavor is gonna really pop out all together. So take it off the heat.
That looks fantastic. I cannot wait to pair that with that chicken.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, beautiful. And so that popping sound, I love it because it's telling me that I'm cooking in the pan. I'm not just sitting there boiling it. It's not too much water in there. So you know when you have that sound and you can hear it with the whole volume distribution, that's what I love about it. So we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna check on our chicken here. See how that's coming out. Oh, look at that. Gorgeous.
That looks so good.
There's our chicken right there. And then I'm gonna grab my salad right here. And let's get ready to plate this up because now we are finished.
Fantastic.
All right, so now we're ready to plate up. I'm so excited. So what I'm gonna have you do here is I'm gonna show you how to do this, okay?
All right.
So I can run you real quick. I want you to take this salad here,
Okay.
and I want you to make a little line right there. That salad here. I'll move closer to you. Down the middle.
Down the middle.
Yeah. So I want to go this way, right? There you go. Beautiful. A little bit more. Make it look pretty. And so if you can get a couple more of those orange segments in there.
Grab a couple of those.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. And boom. Take this vinaigrette. Give it a light drizzle. Boom. And that's plated up. There's your salad. Now let's do the chicken. So if you want to grab the pan real quick, bring it right over here.
Okay.
And so what you're going to do with this is you're going to kind of, I want to say, crescent moon it this way.
Okay.
Veggie. So I'll move it closer to you. And if you want to, there you go. Move the pan closer. Boom. And come around about right here. Look at that. Look at that.
That looks fantastic.
Give me a little bit more right there.
Yeah,
Boom.
All
Right. Okay. Now, let's grab a towel. Make sure you grab the handle there. Let's get this out of your way. You're gonna take this. I want you a little fancy, okay?
Go.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come under with it, a light touch on top, put one here, and then put one here. But I want them to come inside.
All right, you're gonna have to direct me as I get closer.
All right, so there you go. Hold on. Grab the tongs real quick. Let me show you real quick. When this happens, cut it right here. Put it right back on top. Boom. And then you got to come in, tongs on top, scoop it up, bring it over. Cool. Got it? All right, go. One right here.
Just like that?
Yeah. And then give me one on this bed of veg right here. Same way. And like that.
Like that?
Beautiful. Look at that. Just gorgeous. Now, let's do our garnish. So I have some leaves here from the radishes that we sauteed, roasted off. I'll show you how to do it. Gonna roll like this. Roll them in. Let's give it a good top. Make sure you watch your fingers. Go ahead.
I do.
All right. Beautiful. Look at that. He's not a chef, right? And now we're gonna take this here. We're gonna mix it up with some spent herb I have here. Make it a nice little garnish there. If you would, can you hand me the infused olive oil?
Absolutely.
And then the seasoning as well. And what I'm doing right now, I'm actually creating a savory garnish that actually can be part of the dish rather than just do it for aesthetics. So it's almost like a little small cannabis salad here. And so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna right over the top like that. Beautiful. And there it is. Boom.
That looks great.
Said and done.
I cannot wait to eat some of this.
I am so excited. So I've actually invited a few friends over who I know are going to love this as much as you and I are. So let's go set the table for them to come here, and then we're all going to have a talk and have some good food. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. Let's go.
All right, cool.
Hey guys, today we're going to be making a THC infused orange spritz. For the THC portion, I have my friend Dan from Consume coming out here.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Hey, doing great.
So I have a mandarin orange tonic. It is 100 milligrams in the whole bottle, but about 1 ounce is going to be about 8 milligrams, so it should be perfect for this cocktail.
Fantastic. So I'm going to show you how to make this cocktail, and just to prove how easy it is, I'm going to have you make your own.
Can't wait.
Great. So we're going to start off this by filling our glass about half full with ice. Perfect. To this, really simple, we put 3 ounces of white wine. Pinot Grigio works great. I got a nice soft Blanc here. Probably not a Cab. Cabs are a little heavy and buttery. It's just going to be a little odd in this cocktail. And 3. Cool. After that, going to give it a couple dashes of orange bitters. And then to that, we're going to add this tonic. There you go. We're going to give that a little quick stir here. Make sure all the flavors are blended, everything's in there, make sure it's all balanced.
Looking great.
And then we're just going to give it a float of soda water, kind of brighten it up a bit. And finally, and to spare you of this process because it's kind of tedious, we have nice little orange twisted rosemary here as a garnish. Just going to drop that right in there. That's how you make an orange spritz.
All right.
I'm going to take it away.
Let's give it a go. If I spill ice everywhere.
It's all good.
So 2 of these.
2 of those, that will make it 3 ounces. I know it's a small opening.
And I am no bartender, but I am a cannabis enthusiast, so I'm very excited to try this drink.
Perfect.
Perfect. Then we do one of those guys.
Yep, one of those guys.
There's that mandarin orange tonic in there.
We're going to give it 3 dashes of the orange bitters.
1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Light stir.
Light stir. I'm going to hold the base of the glass. They're kind of thin.
Okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
Float some water.
And the previously made garnish.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's fantastic.
right? It's light. You get the hint of the rosemary and the orange right on the nose.
Oh, I want to be outside in the patios drinking
Yep.
these.
And this tonic is perfect for this drink. It really balances well with the whole thing.
Yeah, just got a little bit of sweetness in there, but not overpowering. So I think it's a really great cocktail.
Excellent. Well, Dan, thanks for coming out and bringing some product to help make an infused cocktail.
Absolutely, I'm happy to be here.
Cheers.
What I did for you guys was a nice shaved Brussels sprout salad with some nice navel orange segments in there, and then I took the tonic that we had earlier and did a lemon lime vinaigrette over the salad. So go ahead and dig in. Tell me what you think.
It looks delicious.
Right. Now, before we dig in though, I want my good friend Hank to come over and he's gonna show us what he made for us today. Come on, Hank.
So I made for you today a orange spritz with the mandarin orange tonic. So they're gonna go really good with the salad you have in front of you, and the rosemary is gonna really complement your later dishes. Enjoy it.
Awesome, thank you.
There you go.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Looks beautiful. Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
Cheers, everybody.
Thanks for coming by. All right.
Just so refreshing.
Yeah, that's refreshing.
I love the smell
I'm
of
ready
that
to try the
rosemary.
salad though, so let's dig into it.
Let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
It's so good.
So Dan, how do you feel about the way legal federalization is going?
I think we're going to see that pretty soon. There is some hurdles with the current administration. They said they were going to push it through, and now they're kind of holding back on it. But we'll see how it goes. Like anything, as we're dealing with politics, so sometimes it takes a little longer than we'd hoped. But I'm hoping that pretty soon here that we'll be able to do it. At least with banking, being able to bank would make the cannabis industry work a lot better. They have a lot of issues with that right now, and I think that's actually going into legislation here very soon.
How do you feel about what we cooked today, as far as what we did, we were in the kitchen together, the whole techniques?
Oh, this was fantastic. I learned a lot today. It was a lot of fun to just kind of learn. And, I've cooked with cannabis before, but it's never been anything like this. Usually it's just making brownies and cookies, just like the standard edible affair. So this is just a really fantastic way to get cannabis. And I am super excited to eat the rest of this meal. It's the salad's fantastic, and I'm really excited for that chicken.
Thank you, thank you.
What's your favorite strain to cook with? Or to bake with?
I prefer to bake with concentrates, because that way I don't have to filter out as much flour. Because I make some sweeter things, so I don't necessarily want to have. Sometimes I don't want that herbal note in there. So if I'm making sweeter stuff, I like to definitely cook with concentrates. Where I think in this sort of situation where you're doing a little bit with like actual fresh vegetables and things like that, some of that earthiness from the cannabis would be helpful. Whereas if I'm making a cookie, I don't really want my cookie to taste like herbs.
I definitely love the oranges with this salad though.
Oh, yeah.
So Tim, tell us what inspired this dish. How'd you come up with this?
Well, to be honest, I always love doing seasonal food. I always love getting what's fresh, what's on the market, what's good for the harvest. And you know me, I'm very big on farm to table. So I just love to always find something fresh, use different flavors you never thought you would have together. So yeah.
Yeah, you can really like the combination of the freshness and that citrus, and then that vinaigrette really pairs perfect with it and kind of marries it all together. This is a really good salad.
All right. Well, if you guys love this, it's time now for the main course. So I'm gonna go grab that real quick, and I'll be right back.
Can't wait.
We have a pan-seared chicken here with parmesan and sun-dried tomatoes, and for our garnish, we have the leaves from the radishes, along with a little bit of spent bud on top of that, and then we did a nice vegetable medley, along with some charred vegetables and some Swiss chard and some butter sauce over all that. So guys, go ahead and dig in. Tell me what you think.
I'm excited about this, just so you know.
What is spent bud? What does that mean?
So what spent bud is when I do infusions. A lot of times what I do is I believe in recycling as far as what we have, and if I can use the bud again for garnishment, I'm gonna reuse it, grind it up, put it in something, make it look nice. So
Nice.
Great.
Makes sense.
That chicken is cooked to perfection.
beautiful. And I love the skin on it. The earthiness from the vegetables, the roasted offness, and just the right amount of salt, not too much, and a perfect balance.
Still crispy too. The skin of it, yeah.
Using that The cast iron skillet really gives a good crust on there. You get it nice and hot, a good smoky point. You put all your tinctures and stuff in there, and basically it just becomes a little bath for the skin, and crisps up real nice, and you still have a juicy chicken, and nothing dried out.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dan, I heard you helped cook today.
Yes, got to learn quite a bit today. Did some techniques I've never done before. It was great to be in the kitchen with chef here, and I got to learn quite a bit, and I'm extremely happy with how delicious this tastes.
Yeah.
You don't really get any of the negative cannabis flavors sometimes. Like this all really blends together really well. The cannabis accentuates it instead of distracts it.
And this guy, I mean, for a first timer, for a lot of stuff that he's done for the first time, I'm amazed because this guy literally did the whole dish. You know, he came in, he learned, he said, "Chef, whatever you need me to do," and here we are looking at this wonderful dish. It's amazing, it's delicious, it's filling, it's everything.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to the chefs.
Definitely.
All right, guys, that was an amazing meal. How you guys feeling? What do you guys think? Let me know.
I'm feeling relaxed, to be honest. This was the first time I've ever had any food that was infused other than like baked goods, like brownies, Rice Krispies. So this was a totally different experience for me. But I enjoyed it. Feeling real good. Yeah.
No, definitely was good. Obviously, as you can tell. Usually I'm not a big fan of like edibles, but this one was good again, just because you really couldn't taste the weed. They were just all blended in perfectly with the food. So now I'm just at a point where I'm like very relaxed like her. So it's good.
Yeah. You know, and the reason why I do it this way, because I've had the bad experiences with edibles where you're sitting there slumped on a couch, and I was like, that's not how you should be doing it. It should be like anything else, where it's like it gradually comes in, and you feel good, and you're loose, and you're having cocktails and having a good time, not sitting there on the floor
Yeah,
drooling.
it's a good balance, especially when you have a drink in your hand. Like, it's a good balance.
Right.
Just not doing too much.
So there's not a lot that I know about marijuana, but I'm curious. I think the two different types are sativa and indica. Is that right?
Yeah, and primarily it's like kind of not true. They're all really the same. It boils down to where the strains are actually from.
Oh.
So sativas tend to be from more of a tropical area, and they're going to have, so that affects how the bud structure grows. They're usually taller, larger plants, and indicas are from a colder climate, from like the Himalayan mountains. So they're going to be shorter, stockier, have a shorter flowering time because they don't have as long of a summer. So it kind of really comes down to, those ended up being the names to sort of describe that, but realistically, it's all the same plant, and it's more about the effects. Sativas tend to be more uplifting, indicas tend to be more relaxing. So it's more about the effects than sativa and indica are a way to describe the effects.
Okay.
Is more of a way to do that, and a way to describe where those parents came from. And the parents are going to be what is a landrace strain. That's going to be something that you're going to find naturally occurring. So you're going to see sativas in, say, South America, like Thailand. You'll see some in Africa. And then the indicas are going to be from colder climates like the Himalayan mountains, Russia, places like that. And that's where they were like basically just naturally growing because it's a weed. So it does its thing as a weed. And really it's so powerful at adapting to the climate. So it's just, especially those strains that have just been growing there naturally in that, on the side of a mountain for, I don't know, however many thousands of years.
Have you ever like got a batch from a cultivator anywhere where it was like, dude, really?
There's always things that can happen. One of the things with cannabis is that you're like, even with the dispensary, you customers expect that it's always going to be the same every time, and they always sometimes like, well, why isn't this strain here anymore? I don't understand. And to them, it's a product, and they're just kind of dissociating it from it being plant. Because it's a plant. Sometimes the plant doesn't grow the way you want it to. You could have a batch that goes bad, or you could have a batch that say hermaphrodites, so it accidentally creates seeds. So that'll happen too. So it'll get parts of the males as it's a female, and it'll pollinate itself and then grow seeds, and that'll diminish the quality. So like occasionally you can get seeds on accident too, and it actually lowers the quality of it. So there's a lot to it. Sometimes people are very excited when they find a seed in their product. Some people are very upset because they paid a lot of money for it and they don't want that. If you're probably excited if you grow, and then you're upset if you don't. Well, free seeds, and then it makes you happy. So that's really what it is. That it's a plant. It's so different. there's no way it's always going to be a little different. One room, even if it's the same strain, will look slightly different if the next room over, because the climate might be slightly different. And there's just little effects in there. So there's so much variation in it. It's kind of to be expected, and it's really about minimizing it. Then there's no way to eliminate it because it's a plant. Just like when you go to the grocery store, you know, an ear of corn, they're all not perfect. They're pretty close, and because Monsanto's been doing their thing about making them as close as possible. But you know, it's still like the kernels aren't going to be identical, so you can't really expect any bud to always be the same. You just hope it's fairly consistent.
So we talked a lot about like the plant itself, but what about the culture of cannabis? Like, how would you describe cannabis culture?
I think there's a lot of cool subcultures within it, because you know, it's a little bit. There's so many different groups of people that are using cannabis now. It's not just like the stoners behind the school at the gym. Those days are long gone. It's working professionals. You know, it kind of sucks during COVID because we haven't been able to do cannabis events, but cannabis events are huge. People love coming together and celebrating cannabis together. And that's just not something that's been missing the last year. And it kind of, you know, it even sucks even worse for us as Illinois people because we missed our first 420 recreationally because we're all stuck inside. And it was on a Saturday. So, like, we could have had a lot of fun on that Saturday for 420 celebrating. But, you know, COVID kind of put a damper on that. I really think we would have had a lot of fun, especially in Chicago, with people throwing underground events, concerts, street festivals, like, there would have been a lot of stuff going on, and we kind of missed out on that. So it's kind of disappointing. But I think there's still a thriving, even underground cultures here. There's a lot of, you know, smaller cooking groups and things like that. You know, if you dig, you can find it. Yeah. And there's really like a cannabis group for everybody. Like, you know, you could be on the golf course at a country club smoking joints, or you could be, you know, at the back of a music venue at a concert. Like, those can be the same people. And you know, those could be different people, but there's almost like a culture for everyone because there's really there's like a product for everyone now. Like, you know, if you're not a usual user, it's like, well, I might not want to hand you a big gigantic joint. You may want a small edible because that's a more approachable way to use cannabis.
I would.
You would like the big joints.
No, I would hand her like, hey, look. I know it's I know it's Friday, but you ain't got nothing to do. I ain't got nothing to do. Light it up. Let's go. So
yeah, and it's evolved a lot. You know, I really think like 10, 20 years ago was definitely that like stoner comedies on movies, like the Harold and Kumar. That's what you kind of like expected a little bit.
Half-baked.
But half baked even more. And it's cool to see us kind of grow from that. And I think we all know some very successful people that just happen to use cannabis where it was definitely seen as like cannabis was what was holding you back from being successful. And I think we're just more and more seeing successful people. And it's like, yeah, of course I do this because my job is stressful and that's what I need. You know, and there's good use for it, and, you know, medically and recreationally too. So some people need it for meds. Some people just want to have a good Friday.
End of the rainbow is when I can go to Starbucks in the future and, you know, I can have a joint outside with my latte and people don't look at you like you're crazy because you want to enjoy your joint. I'm like, hey, I'm walking home. I have a dog. Like, let me have a frappuccino real quick. So I am excited for the future of cannabis. Like you said, normalization. And I just want to thank you for coming out, man. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Been a pleasure being here and talking cannabis with you guys. I just absolutely love this plant, and the meal you made was absolutely fantastic. I cannot stress that enough.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this has been Above the Joint. I'm so glad you guys are here, and stay tuned next time. We're going to have more great food.